David Cameron swept into the White House on the latest stop of his diplomatic world tour. His aim to talk to President Obama about possible Syrian peace talks and next month's G8 summit in Northern Ireland. But even here, he couldn't avoid talking about Europe. And the contrast with his party at home could not be starker. While some Tories were talking of leaving the European Union, the Prime Minister was banging the drum for a trade deal between the EU and the US, potentially the world's largest free trade area that he said could mean £10 billion a year for Britain's economy.
The next 5 weeks are crucial. To realise the huge benefits this deal could bring will take ambition and political will.
So you're talking here today about a new EU-US trade deal, and yet members of your party are now talking about leaving the European Union. What is your message to them and to those pushing for an early referendum?
There's a very good reason why there's not going to be a referendum tomorrow, is because it would give the British public, I think, an entirely false choice between the status quo, which I don't think is acceptable. I want to see the European Union change. I want to see Britain's relationship with the European change and improve. So it would be a false choice between the status quo and leaving. And I don't think that is the choice the British public want or the British public deserve.
But was America worried about all this talk of leaving?
The people of the UK have to make decisions for themselves. I will say this, that David's basic point that you probably want to see if you can fix what's broken in a very important relationship before you break it off makes some sense to me.
But these talks were not just about Europe. They also discussed Syria. The Prime Minister said there was now an urgent window of opportunity to get both sides round the negotiating table. And he also promised to double the amount of non-lethal aid that Britain gives to the opposition. Another £10 million, more armoured vehicles and body armour. Mr Cameron also came here to the FBI's headquarters to pick the brains of America's security chiefs about how they respond to terrorism and incidents like last month's Boston bombings.
We'll have it displayed there as well.
This operations centre is open round the clock, holds 400 permanent staff and more than 1,000 telephone lines.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
David Cameron leaves Washington for Boston, and then he's off to New York and the United Nations to discuss aid and trade. But Europe looks set to dog him every step of the way.